Hey everyone, Marcel back again with the Pulse. I just turned 60 just a few days ago, and I've been very busy. I haven't posted in a couple weeks, so I want to catch up with you guys and tell you how things are going, what it's like to be 60, what's different than I thought it was going to be just a few short years ago, and hopefully put some fears to rest out there that you may be having about some big life point that you're reaching, some big year, some big birthday for you that you may be dreading over, you may be having anxiety over. I certainly did. If I look back, I'll tell you straight out, I became a father again for the second and third time at 46 and 49. And I had really nothing but anxiety. I was fearful of it. I went along with it because my wife is 10 years younger and she wanted children. And I did want children, but I had fears. I had anxieties. And I was afraid of turning 60, and making it to 60. My father died at 63. Both my grandfathers died in their early 60s. And I was afraid that I wasn't going to be there past their teenage years. I was very, very, very afraid of that and concerned of that, and wasn't sure how that was going to all work out, for me and for my boys. It would be boys. They ended up both being boys, and I don't want fatherless sons, growing up. So I was afraid. Now, 5 years ago, flash forward, they're still young, they're still small, they're starting to play tennis, as I've told you guys many times. And I felt on that trajectory. Matter of fact, those fears were enhanced. Things were even worse. And for me, it was supplements. For me, it was taking supplements like NAD boosters. I'm not going to name the one I take by name because it's in the description. And we all know, how sensitive things can be with getting reach and getting the channel out there. So I'm not going to mention it by name, but it's in the description, along with my discount code and all that stuff, the links for DoNotAge where I take them. And I bring that up because one of the things that you can't do, whether you buy from DoNotAge or whatever supplement company you buy from, is one of the things the supplement companies can't do is make disease cure claims. And that is just by nature how it works with supplements versus drugs. Drugs, they can have all this data that they can compile, and they can say, okay, you can treat this disease with this drug. With supplements, it doesn't matter how much data is out there. It doesn't really matter how much research goes on. They still can't make that claim. They cannot say you can treat this with this natural ingredient. Seems kind of backwards, but it's important to understand. And I think it adds to the confusion. People are anxious about going out there and trying different vitamins and supplements because they never come to the point. They can't come out and come to the point and say you can treat diabetes with this natural ingredient. They can't do it. So people are stuck in a state of confusion, and they turn to medicine. I understand that. In many cases, that's the way to go. But in my case, just turning 60, let me go over a little recap list of all the things that have reversed for me since I started eating, supplementing, exercising, living a much healthier life in general. I had fatty liver. I had pretty severe anxiety, ended up in ER many times. I was obese. I was inflamed. Maybe worse than being overweight, everything was puffy. I didn't feel good. I didn't look right. I had allergies, were pretty severe at times during the year. I was sick quite often. Sinus infections. I was pre-diabetic, right? This is a blood test, right? This was something that was going on. And among other things that I'm probably chronic pain I'm not getting into, other things that were going on in my life that were very, very serious problems for me and causing me enough anxiety to wonder if I was going to be around another 5 years to have this birthday today. Yet here I am. Now I'm 60. I'm not anxious. I'm not fearful for another 5 years. And I no longer have any of these symptoms that I just reeled off to you. None of them. I could say am I cured? I don't even know that any of these are necessarily diseases. Okay, liver disease is a disease. Diabetes is a disease. I can't say for sure what specifically reversed it. I can just report to you that they reversed. and that I'm turning 60 in a way that I never imagined. Never imagined. A way I'm feeling that I never imagined. Certainly not 5 years ago, and not 10 years ago, when these kids were very small and I'm sitting there having all my anxieties about turning 60. Yet here I am, right now, looking at you. And I also have the benefit now of looking at my uncle. Same genetics as my father. My uncle's still alive at 90. I'm looking at my mother. She's still alive at 85. And so my outlook genetically is different looking at them because I have different examples than I did 10, 20 years ago to look at. And then I have my own reality that's much different. And my children and I, the conversations that we have are not about not being around. They're about, what are we going to be doing in 5 years? We, us. What are we going to be doing in 10 years? Where are you going to be in school? Are we going to follow along with you or come and visit you? Or how often are you going to come home? Because we live in Europe. They want to go to school, at least at this point. They want to go to college in the U.S. So, we're talking about those things that were unthinkable for me 5, 10 years ago. Just completely unthinkable. So I do hope that by sharing this with some of you, you can either relate already because you're boosting your NAD levels, you changed your life, or you're just following along with my story and you're going, okay, I find this interesting, but not enough to make the investment or the change in my life yet, but you're following along. Or you're a skeptic, and then you're looking for something to poke holes in, which is all fair game, by the way, because I was a skeptic to everything that I'm talking about until things got so bad that I had to find another way, which thank goodness I did and I have. So yes, I turned 60. I was afraid of it for a long time, fearful of it, not just about being older or being seen as older, but because I felt like that was going to be the end or very close to the end for me. And now it just feels like, I don't know if a new beginning is the way to talk about it, but I do think of it that way. I'm in a bonus round. I don't know how long it'll last. I don't know how long I'll feel this much energy to play tennis and be active the way that I am, to be working on my music comeback, as it were, the way that I am. Halfway done with that album. Just turned in another mix yesterday or day before. All the stems, uploaded them to LA. Big moment for me. And that requires work that I'm going to be sharing with you all very soon that goes on for hours and hours and hours at a time that 5 years ago, forget it. I would never have had the ability to concentrate and focus and work that long. I mean, I would just either crash or I'd be tired or I'd need a beer or feel like I needed a beer. And I just couldn't pull it off. Yet now it's song after song after song after song and feeling great time after time after time and feeling like I can do it and like I will do it. And I am doing it. So my outlook is good. And I hope that your outlook for turning whatever age you're turning, and if it's 5 years away, if it's 10 years away, that you can approach it without fear. I'm no longer afraid of another birthday. I'm excited to see what it's going to be like to be 65, to be 70, to be 75. And I never looked at life that way before until I realized it doesn't have to be. Turning 60 isn't a death sentence in and of itself. It doesn't mean you're going to be partially dead. As at 55, I was partially dead. Like parts of me were dead, They weren't living anymore. And now they are. Whether it's dreams and emotions and goals and aspirations, it just wasn't there. Certainly physical fitness or certainly going back to Argentina and playing music. None of that was in the cards. Or planning what I was going to be doing with my kids in 5 years or 10 years. None of that was in the cards. None of that was on my mind, or I pushed it away. Yet here I am, thinking much more differently and happy to have just turned 60 and looking forward to this year, next year, the year after that. And I do hope the same for you. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.